Hello, Quizmaster Jack, back again. Getting to, after this will be halfway through the summer pop culture buzzword tournament, competition, whatever you want to call it. Let's just get right into it. I want to get some best buzzes, and I think with what we've seen from the score so far, I need to shoot for over 650 to do very well. Let's see where the questions lead us.
This 1978 film's end credits invite the viewers to go to Universal Studios and ask for a tour guide named Babs. This film ends with the Deathmobile driven by D-Day disrupting a homecoming parade. For 10 points,
D-Day.
What film starred John Belushi as a member of a troublemaker?
Oh, Animal House. Okay. I do not know much about Animal House. Not in my repertoire. Great start. Great start right off the bat. Yeah, Blues Brothers wasn't in 78. It was in the 80s. Yeah. Oh well. Bad buzz there. Should have waited for it.
This singer repeats I Know You Will in the chorus of a song from the 2013 soundtrack of The Great Gatsby. She describes cruising down the coast, going about 99, in a song that begins Kiss Me Hard Before You Go. For 10 points, name this singer of Young and Beautiful and Summertime Sadness.
Okay. Yeah, I know about Summertime Sadness, which was the giveaway, which is probably like my appropriate level of knowledge for Lana Del Rey. It's got that song about video games. That's something.
Since 1986, The Economist has used one of this company's products.
So they're probably talking about the Big Mac Index. So that would be McDonald's. All right. Very early buzz there. Got a 20. Possible best buzz. And that's a good pick me up from some kind of lackluster first two questions there.
This character obtained magical powers by sacrificing his former lover, Valeria. His ward, Kristoff, once replaced him as ruler of the fictional country.
Yes, I gotta be talking about Laturvia and Doctor Doom. They gotta give me that one. Dr. Doom. Yep, Doctor Doom, actually a magician. Not what you would expect from a guy who's wearing like all armor and stuff. Except for in that in the first the Fantastic Four with Chris Evans and why am I forgetting her name? Yeah, I'm just blanking on the woman who played Sue Storm in that first and those Fantastic Four. I think he got his powers from the cosmic rays, just like the rest of the Fantastic Four. All right, don't give me that one. Got it fairly early on that too. Yeah, about halfway. All right, let's go.
In 1956, this man replaced Jack Bailey to begin a 19-year run as host of Truth or Consequences. In 1988, he stopped hosting the Miss Universe and Miss USA pageants to protest the use of fur. For 10 points, what advocate of neutering pets preceded...
Bob Barker. That's a good... I didn't know he did Truth or Consequences. That was before they named the New Mexico City after the show. Yeah, at that point you talk about like 50 talk or game show hosts in the 50s who was still operating in the 80s. There's not that many on the list actually. I was on Richard Dawson for a while. But no, Bob Barker, much better answer.
A muscular basketball doing this action, resulting in smaller basketballs, appears in a 2020 Ben Garrison cartoon. Steven Savoya took a photo of a man doing this action during a 2009 Hall of Fame induction speech. For 10 points, a meme photo shows Michael Jordan doing what sad act?
That was a weird. That was a weird question. Kind of sports, just a little bit of sports in there, but it's really just meme sports. To just the Michael Jordan crying thing's a little mean. It's a little mean. Show your emotions, people. Specific term required.
The term for this music genre was coined in promotions for Green River's EP, Dry as a Bone. Bands in this genre released such albums as Super Unknown, 10, and Nevermind. Seattle was a
Okay. Off of the dry as a bone. I was thinking maybe it was straight edge. Since straight edge would mean you're not drinking. But they said never mind, and that puts you right on Nirvana, which puts you right on grunge.
In a 2020 film, a character played by this actress says you can only have the truth, but the truth is beautiful, to a man using the Dreamstone.
It's gotta be Gal Gadot. Yeah, because they're talking about Wonder Woman 1984, which I saw on my last plane trip, and man, is that a mediocre movie! Just so long, like nothing happens. There's barely any tension. I think Kristen Wiig's the best part of that movie, and she's just kind of doing that. Hey, I'm a comedic actor who now does a little bit of serious stuff, but it's just okay. And Pedro Pascal is in it, and he's just not. He's just not good. It's just not. It's just not a good movie. It's just not a good movie. It's not. It's worse than mediocre. I'm going to go back on my previous statement and say it's worse than mediocre. It's just not a good movie. But they said Dreamstone, which is the MacGuffin in the movie. So that means Wonder Woman, which means Gal Gadot.
A version of this city is home to the slum Freeside, Vault 21, and the frozen body of Robert House.
So this is Las Vegas. They're talking about Fallout New Vegas, because Mr. House is. I mean, so the thing about Fallout games, they're talking. Yeah, this is Las Vegas. The thing about Fallout games is there's not necessarily one antagonist, because you could make an antagonist out of any character you interact with. But yeah, I mean, they said Vault, so it put me on Fallout right away. But there's a lot of cities that exist, or real life cities that exist in the Fallout universe, because it's like the first two Fallouts are basically all California stuff that they did rename, except for Redding. Redding, California still exists post nuclear apocalypse. And then Fallout 3 was in DC. New Vegas was in Vegas, and then Fallout 4 was Boston. So I couldn't go in right on the vaults because I don't know where all the numbered vaults are off the top of my head. But I said Mr. House, and Mr. House is a big player in Fallout New Vegas.
On a transatlantic flight, this character is called a horrible person by her seatmate, who was played by Hugh Laurie. Her name is said by mistake at Emily Waltham's wedding. For 10 points, what woman who takes a break from her boyfriend Ross was played by Jennifer Aniston on...
Her middle name's Karen. Yeah, that's totally Rachel. Uh, I've never been a Friends person. I've watched. I can say for certain I sat down and watched. Oh, I've sat down and watched only one episode, and that's the episode where it's revealed that Chandler has three nipples, which I have used to get quiz bowl questions right. Him and Krusty the Clown, they both have three nipples. But yeah, but on that, I didn't even realize we were in TV until they said this stuff about Ross.
A queen in this musical sings about that dear forbidden fruit in a number celebrating the lusty month of May. In Act
So
1 of
just
this musical, Sir Lionel and two other knights are defeated in a joust by Lancelot. For 10 points,
this is just Camelot. Yeah, yeah. What? Have I actually heard that May song before? I mean, off of Queen, it was like, well, what queens are there in musicals? And for the most part, like it's just Camelot. There's even Spamalot doesn't have Guinevere in it because Monty Python and the Holy Grail doesn't have Guinevere in it. Spamalot's weird. Like Arthur ends up marrying the Lady of the Lake in it, just because they're doing weird musical parody stuff. But yeah, at some point that question just became, "What's the musical based on the King Arthur mythos?" And it's Camelot.
the outro of a song by this band says, "Softly you braid your hair, all the angels stare." Ryan Beatty pleads "Tell Me What I'm Waitin' For" in a song from this group's 2019 album, Ginger. For 10 points, Kevin Abstract leads what self-described hip-hop boy band behind Bleach and Sugar?
Who was behind? It's not Maroon Five. Um, I don't think it's this. They already had a BTS question. Brockhampton. Never heard of them. Never heard of them. Not even a little bit. No way I was getting that question right.
A series named for this character depicts a religious schism after Faustus Blackwood departs the Church of Night. On an earlier show, this niece of Hilda and Zelda had a
So it's Sabrina. Sabrina Spellman. Sabrina Victoria Spellman. Yes, they must have been talking about the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, that Netflix show. Uh, I'm only familiar with the Melissa Joan Hart version, and even not that much. I'm mostly about Salem Saberhagen, which is a great name. Lots of alliteration. Sabrina Spellman, Salem Saberhagen. Lots of alliteration in there.
In this film, MacDonald makes the error of saying thank you in English to someone saying good luck. This film ends with Hiltz, the Cooler King, throwing a
Cooler
baseball
King.
against a wall. Steve McQueen starred in for
Hmm. Yeah, I just didn't have anything. They said Steve McQueen. They said, and then obviously, if you say thank you in English, that gives you away. I was kind of on Inglorious Bastards for a while off of that thank you thing, but that wasn't that he said thank you. It's that he said three like this instead of three like this, and then everybody died because it's a Quentin Tarantino movie. But yeah, got in all right on that Steve McQueen sort of guess.
In the Dark Souls and Elder Scrolls games, a bar of this color represents a character's stamina.
I mean, it could have been. I like it was always going to be green there. Just like this green bar on your screen right here, representing how many questions we're through. It was always going to be green because red is every health bar, nearly every health bar, and yeah, really the only bar that's really unique to those Souls games is the stamina bar. So I could have went in early, but I didn't want to. I wanted to just hold back a little bit and make sure I got it. Make sure I got my 19. Probably missed the best buzz there, but I wanted to be sure of the points.
This singer claimed "We Are Still Innocent" in a song from her album Surfacing titled Adia. She described vultures and thieves and a dark, cold hotel room in a 1997 ballad. For 10 points, what Canadian co-founder of Lilith Fair sang Angel, which the
Sarah McLaughlin. Sarah McLaughlin. That's gotta be close enough. I did a G instead of a C. They'll give me that. They'll give me that. It's Sarah McLaughlin. What was that first song they were talking about? I must have heard it because I was actually listening to music in the 90s. Was it just Angel? Was Angel actually just the only song they were talking about there? Yeah, it's quite possible. I don't have a deep well of Sarah McLaughlin knowledge. See, I can't even spell it right.
In this film, Marcus's implementation of Article 8 leads him to overlook corruption. A character in this film is told to rip his fingers off or be electrocuted, and is one of many cops killed by Emerson.
Okay. So, getting your fingers ripped out or be electrocuted is definitely a Saw thing. So, it was really just the question of which Saw. And basically, all of the Saw movies past the first one are indistinguishable from each other if you're like trying to talk about the traps that kill people in them, except for maybe like the shotgun collar in 2. But then talking about going after cops, it's gonna be Spiral. Spoilers for Spiral from the book of Jigsaw, or from the book of Saw, not from the book of Jigsaw. Yeah, because all the numbered ones are just kind of pretty samey when it comes down to it. I mean, you're not going to those movies for plot. You're going for the gore. Well, from what I've heard about this last one, there's a little bit of plot in it.
A series now called Story of Seasons simulates this type of business. A track introduced in Mario Kart 64 and
Like a farm? Story of Seasons was Harvest Moon. So that last one must have been talking about like Moo Moo Farm, or is that Moo Moo Ranch? Whatever the Mario Kart track is that takes place in on a farm. Yeah, doing much better on video games this time around. This week, still probably later than it should have done. Because like they said, Story of Seasons, like, well, it's Harvest Moon, so of course. And then they started saying track, and that got me distracted. Thought somehow it was about railroads. But nope, was farms, always was farms.
in this film, Giles is attracted to the operator of a Dixie Doug's Pies franchise. To find the asset, a Soviet spy is tortured in this film by Colonel Strickland. A mute cleaning woman named Eliza appears in.
Yeah, it's the Shape of Water, because they got to be talking about the asset, which is a Fishman. Fishman has got the power to heal or something. Another villain turn from Michael Shannon, and a Best Picture winner for Guillermo del Toro. Did he win director for that too? Probably. All right, I feel like we're doing all right. We got two that they'll give us on review. We're fairly early, so we're probably about above 250 right now.
A song by this group tells the addressee, "Thought of you as my mountaintop, thought of you as my peak." A banana sticker appears on the cover of this band's 1967.
I may have messed this one up. Yeah. Damn it. Forgot. I was thinking the Velvet Underground as I was buzzing it, as I was writing Rolling Stones too, and I just didn't switch over. I'm just cursed when it comes to pop music. Yeah, I wasn't. I keep confusing that the banana sticker thing. I always think is a Rolling Stones thing, but it's Velvet Underground. I had the instinct and I just ignored it.
A multiplayer hack-and-slash video game titled for this noun includes the stage The Fall of Lionspire and is a competitor of Mordhau. An old French word for horseman lends its name to this concept that governed combat in the Middle Ages.
I guess that was a video game question since they're talking about that hack and slash chivalry. Yeah, I guess there's that time a couple years ago where hack and slash medieval stuff was very popular to the point where there were knockoffs. I didn't really play them, but I definitely watched people play them.
On this show, the presence of underage clients causes Bobby Dean to be arrested during a raid on the Lickety Splits strip club. Darlene Snell kills an agent of a Mexican cartel on, for 10 points, what Netflix show starring Jason Bateman as a money...
Yeah, but just listing off proper nouns for a show that I don't know anything about, but you talk about Jason Bateman and Netflix, and I'll get it from there. Pretty medium performance today. But those are tricky. That Velvet Underground question is pretty tricky, at least for me, because I can't distinguish their albums from the Rolling Stones.
In 2018, this organization launched the podcast Up First, hosted by Noel King, Rachel Martin, and Steve Inskeep.
I said Steve Inskeep, so I'm guessing that's just going to be NPR. Yeah. Yeah, they just said names of regular NPR newscasters, so just kind of took the leap there and was rewarded for it.
At the end of this film, Stosh, Linda, and others sing God Bless America at a bar. Nick dies in a gambling den in this film after recalling a friend's one-shot method. For 10 points, in what film does Christopher Walken portray a soldier in...
Okay. This is just like, I feel like it's gonna sound like I'm complaining, but it's just kind of, bad luck. It's a thing that you run into with trivia sometimes, where it's like you can just ask about stuff that you just don't know or haven't experienced, and I don't have a lot of experience with the things that they're asking about. Even the video games, these are not video games that I've actually played. They're just video games that I know about. But yeah, not super familiar with the Deer Hunter, other than like Chris Walken's in it and they play Russian roulette. And the same thing happened with the Ozark question. They just listed off a bunch of proper nouns related to the show that I didn't know anything about until they said the main character or the actor who plays the main character. But that's how it goes sometimes. I'm complaining, but I still think I'm in line for a good score. I can't drop any more questions though.
A rapper named for this thing is featured along with Nicki Minaj on Jason Derulo's Swalla and Megan Thee Stallion's Hot Girl Summer. Members of the ASAP mob, like ASAP Rocky, stylize their names with this symbol. For 10 points, in 2014, what symbol was dropped from the...
All right, we ran into this problem last week. I mean, I had an inkling. But yeah, that's not what you want for the question to just stop. At least it gave me an extra point for letting me sit and stew about it a little bit. They really weren't going to accept just like shift 4 here for the dollar sign. All right. Hopefully that's the one thing that goes bad, just like on Apollo 13.
On this TV show, a nursing student named Ji-ah kills men using 9 supernatural tails. While escaping a sundown town, characters on this show are attacked by Shoggoths. Jonathan Majors and Journey Smollett starred on...
No, it's... Yeah. You're King the Conqueror, everybody. Jonathan Majors. Maybe Lovecraft Country is just anime. Because, man, that sounded a lot like some anime stuff going on in there. See, the way she pronounced it G-ah, it sounded like it would be spelled like G-I-AH. Which is more of like a Korean thing, but could have been used in some anime. But then they started talking about actual actors who were in it. Yeah. Heard very good things about that, but it also got canceled by HBO. So no second season for that. And again, it's the same blueprint for all of these questions. They just list off proper nouns until they say an actor who's in it, and then I can pull it from there. Although Shoggoths I could have figured out. But like it's Lovecraft, so everybody pulls. Shoggoths could have been in anything, really.
The concept for this game was suggested by Lyle Rains to its developer Ed Logg. The deluxe version of this game introduces killer satellite enemies and a shield that replaces the hyperspace button. For 10 points, in what Atari game does a triangular ship shoot saucers and the...
Oh, yeah, asteroids. I really wish it would stop cutting out, because that would have got me more points. The ship's kind of triangular, and because now it's making me drop video game questions, which I'm not cool with. Oops. All right, let's go.
In epic rap battles of history, this man dies of a heart attack while battling Benjamin Franklin. This man, whose real-life 2009 death stemmed from cocaine-exacerbated heart disease, starred on the Discovery show Pitchmen. For 10 points, what khakis-wearing TV salesman promoted...
Billy Mays? Billy Mays versus Ben Franklin in the epic rap battles of history? All right. Yeah, Billy Mays. Rest in peace to Ron Popeil, who just passed. In a similar vein to Billy Mays. All right, multiple word title.
A character in this comic strip owns a cat named Hot Dog and idolizes the Western star Cowboy Bob. This strip's protagonist is often annoyed by a red-haired girl named Margaret who has a crush on him. For 10 points, in what comic strip does the title Youth annoy his neighbor, Mr.
Okay. Thus we talk about the American version of Dennis the Menace there, not the UK version, which is filled with more menace.
On this TV show's most watched episode, the vengeful Helena Cassadine was played by Elizabeth Taylor. In 1981, this show, set in Port Charles,
Oh, crap. Which one's in Port Charles? It's a soap opera. Days of. I buzzed in on Murder She Wrote, but it's actually a General Hospitals in Port Charles. Couldn't pull that one back. I buzzed in on Murder She Wrote, but they said Port Charles instead of Cabot Cove, and then I forgot which one was in. Really, because on General Hot, like Luke and Laura's wedding had to be the most watched episode, but they said like Elizabeth Taylor showed up on in that episode or in a different one. Oh well. I took a chance and it didn't pay off.
a game in this series whose title includes a fragmentary passage and the numerical designation 0.2 is a sequel to Birth by Sleep.
They said birth. They said Birth by Sleep. They said Birth by Sleep, which is Kingdom Hearts, which is a game that has some very very weird. Excuse me, some very very weird subtitles. Like 358 over 2 dream drop distance. Oh, the dream drop distance was nice because that was the 3DS one. So they had a subtitle it started with 3Ds. Didn't know which games they were talking about in those first ones before they said dream drop distance or before they said Birth by Sleep. Birth by Sleep. If you want a if you want a concise version, I think I've probably shouted this out on previous buzzwords, but if you want a concise version of the hero's journey as told by Kingdom Hearts, check out Brian David Gilbert's breakdown of the story of Kingdom Hearts on Polygon on Unraveled. Should be on YouTube. It's pretty great. I'm going through the villains thing where it's I fail, and then I fail again.
This fashion house's Miu Miu subsidiary is named for its head designer, Miuccia. The name of this fashion house appears in the title of a Lauren Weisberger novel about a cruel magazine editor. For 10 points, in the title of a Meryl Streep film, The Devil...
I can get it off of that. Get these fashion questions off of movies. Obvious movies, too. But that's okay. That's probably the only way I was going to get points off of it. So I'll take it.
At the end of this film, a Sid Vicious cover of My Way plays while the protagonist gets a newspaper. Then He Kissed Me plays over a long tracking shot in this film.
Oh, that's what plays when they go through the kitchen, right? So I think it's Goodfellas. Yeah, all right. Sweet. That's good. That's good. I like a question like that where it's okay. Name here. Here's the big music cues in a movie. Music cues famously used in a movie.
This song, whose chorus includes a line translating as "Give Your Body Joy," was popularized worldwide through a remix by the Bayside Boys. This song, which uses a clave rhythm, was the biggest hit for Los Del Rio.
Oh, it's just the Macarena, right? Yeah, it's got to be. Oh yeah, the chorus is, everybody who doesn't really know the song just kind of mumbles along with it, but yeah, that's a good opening clue there, talking about what the Spanish actually means in that song. Oh, I should have got that off of Bayside Boys though.
After meeting in this city, Rob and Sharon start a family on the show Catastrophe. A cafe owner in this city steals a torso statue from her godmother.
What?
A streaming show set in this city starred Reggae Jean Page as a duke. For 10 points, Fleabag and Bridgerton were set in what English city?
I mean, is it just okay? Oh, I had no idea what was going on for that one the whole time. But giveaways are giveaways, and that kind of gave away London.
A man played by this actor triumphantly says, "I got my time coming to me," and stabs a colleague who steps on his new shoes. This actor played trumpeter Levy Green in a 2020 film released.
I think this is going to be Chadwick Boseman, because I think they're talking about Ma Rainey's Black Bottom at the end there. So it's going to be the old Chadwick. That's a sad story. Sad story. What was that first movie they were talking about where he stabbed the guy for stepping on his shoes? Was he in the Five Bloods? I don't know. That might be what they were talking about.
This singer tells the addressee to take your tings and be on your merry way in her song GTFO. Miguel features on #Beautiful, the lead single from a 2014 album whose title calls this singer the elusive chanteuse. For 10 points, who recorded Fantasy and All I Want for Christmas Is You?
Oh, what? Okay. There's a lot of recent Mariah Carey stuff that I just had no idea about. And then they said the most famous Mariah Carey song. So I'll take it. All right, just the surname.
This woman starred on the radio program My Favorite Husband, which she helped to adapt into a CBS TV show that co-starred William Frawley as the curmudgeonly landlord Fred Mertz. For 10 points, what actress played the wife of Cuban bandleader Ricky Ricardo on the 1950s sitcom I...
I didn't know that was a... For some reason, the way that all sounded in the first part of that clue made it sound like it was something more recent. But yeah, Lucille Ball.
While accepting an award, this person honored the sound mixer Michael Wolf Snyder with an onstage howl. A character played by this actor works at a beet plant and an Amazon center while living out of her van.
It's Frances McDormand. Yeah. Very recent actors, or the exploits of very recent actors in these last few questions here. Yeah, she was the last winner of Best Actress. Yeah, because that was earlier this year, which seems like 45 years ago. All right, first or last name, no nickname or title.
This man was incorrectly conflated with Stubby Boardman, the lead singer of a band called the Hobgoblins, in an interview given to The Quibbler. This member of the Marauders was nicknamed Padfoot. Dementors
Padfoot
pursue, for 10 points,
Sirius Black. Yeah, because he was the one that turned into a dog. Remus, who was an actual werewolf, they called Mooney. And it was Wormtail and Wormtail for... Oh, what's the guy's actual name? Yeah, what's that guy's actual name? Doesn't matter. He's always just Wormtail. And then Prongs was James Potter.
In March 2021, a 16-minute song about this man, Murder Most Foul, was released by Bob Dylan. In a 1991 film, Kevin Costner plays DA Jim Garrison, who accuses a New Orleans businessman of conspiring to kill this man.
Yeah. Bob Dylan just put out a 16-minute song about JFK getting killed. I haven't heard about that. Hmm. Little Minnesota connection on the last few. Bob Dylan from Minnesota. Frances McDormand married to one of the Coen brothers, the pride of Minnesota.
A 2021 single by this performer discusses behaviors that lead to wide eyes staring at space and late nights endin' alone. This man said, "We push and pull like a magnet do" in a hit from his 2017 album, Divide. Bad
Oh,
habits.
that's Ed Sheeran. I know that. I know. I've written a question about divide before, which is just the divide symbol of the line and two dots. I'm kind of I kind of don't want to look at my score now because I don't think it's very good. Yeah, it's not very good. I'm not doing. This is not a highlight of my week, or this is not a great week so far.
This is the first word in the title of a musical whose 2017 Broadway revival starred David Hyde Pierce and Bette Midler. This word precedes "My Name is Elder Price" in a song with this title that opens the Book of
I think it's got to be Hello, because they must have been talking about Hello Dolly on that first clue. I'm not super familiar with the Book of Mormon, but that makes sense. Like it just all came together and made sense for that to be Hello.
A 2017 co-op board game titled "For This Kind of Place" pits spirits against colonizer.
Spirit Island. Have I played that? My friends have it. I don't know if we actually played it. I think we did play it. But yeah, I talked about Spirit Island. All right, well I got that off of the first clue, so maybe that'll give me a best buzz. Give me something out of this week.
This TV show guest starred Ali Sheedy as a serial killer who used the alias Mr. Yang. In its finale, the protagonist left Santa Barbara and proposed to Juliet O'Hara. The USA Network aired, for 10 points, What Detective Show in which Gus helped Sean pretend.
Okay. It just all those, like, is it The Mentalist? Is it Criminal Minds? Is it Psych? Is it any number of things? It being on USA didn't really help me, but they said Sean and Gus, which puts you right on Psych.
This superhero confronted memories of child abuse in therapy sessions with Doc Samson. He gained his powers while saving Rick Jones during an experiment at a base led by General Thunderbolt Ross.
Boy, this is just Bruce Banner. Was this talking about the Eric Bana Hulk? Was this actually a movie question? About the Ang Lee version of Hulk? There's been so many. Which one? I think that one was just called Hulk, or The Hulk. Is the Ed Norton one, which is actually the second movie in the MCU. Yeah. I think like the child abuse stuff really only comes up in that. Or this is all just comic stuff that I'm conflating with things that happened in the movie.
This game was created after two men were frustrated by missing Scrabble pieces. Its inventors were sued by Fred Worth, who claimed it plagiarized him by listing Columbo's first name. Pretend.
Yep. That's the famous thing with Trivial Pursuit. It was a plagiarism sort of scandal where it's the same sort of thing with it's called, so map makers would put fake maps on, or fake cities on maps, and then if they saw that fake city in other maps, they would know that that cartographer just stole from them. I think they called that paper towns. So one of the most famous things with that was that somebody put a book out that had the first name of Columbo as Frank, which is in the show is alluded to that is his actual name, but it never outright says it. But in this fact book, the guy put in like his name is Frank Columbo, and then the Trivial Pursuit people use that as a source, and he sued them for using that fake fact as a truth in their game.
In this film series, two siblings listen to the song Beyond the Sea repeating on a radio signal. Millicent Simmons plays Reagan Abbott in this series, which was largely written by John Krasinski. For 10.
Oh. I didn't know about that Beyond the Sea thing. That's a great song. I love Beyond the Sea. First exposed to that song through X-Files.
This singer's album Acid Queen was inspired by her role in the film Tommy.
Tina Turner was the Acid Queen in the movie version of Tommy. So I'll take that. That could be up there. Ugh, this is such a bad score. That's a bad score. I shouldn't have looked. All right, last question.
This man voices the hormonal middle schooler Andrew on Big Mouth. In a 2019 special based on children's TV shows, this title comedian performed with the Sack Lunch Bunch. The stand-up specials New in Town and Kid Gorgeous star.
I think that's John Mulaney. All right. I actually think I do have three questions that I think I'll get on review that were fairly early. So that may bump me up to at most 655, but I don't think that's, because right now I'm at 595. So I probably ended up with like 640, which is lower than I want. I beefed some of those questions. I dropped some ones I shouldn't have, but that's how it goes sometimes. I feel like I'm kind of behind the eight ball with a lot of the questions this thing, just because they're asking about stuff that I don't have that much exposure to. But that's all right. That's how it happens sometimes. That's the thing about trivia. If you don't know the answer, then you get to learn. All right, that's it for week 4. We'll see you later.